2011 saw not only the complete revival of the traditional Kirby we all know and love, but it also gave light to the spear ability. At first look, many players may not be very impressed with it. It's a close range weapon with a sharp edge, like sword. But once you pick it up, you will truly feel the difference. Spear sacrifices wide range for long range. Think of it like Marth and Shulk in Smash 4. Sword fails to hit, spear delivers the kill. But those clever masterminds over at the Sleeping Wiener Dog were not satisfied with Spear's already magnificent reach, so they authorized the power to throw the spear for a titanious boost in range. But Kirby is not limited to just throwing one. By dashing and jumping, Kirby can throw multiple spears, one after another. The spear can also please those who prefer melee combat. Multi-spear will do the trick. Let the enemy approach and murder it. Tear its flesh apart. Wait for its body parts to fall to the floor, leaving behind tasty remnants. Now for my favorite attack, Spear Copter. Just imagine throwing a lump of meat to a propeller, and you can see the devastation. For a final note, I need to correct a mistake I made in part 1. Sword, Hammer, and Bell are not the H-Duo trio anymore. I completely forgot that Spear is also compatible underwater. So they are now the 6 water guys, the other 2 being Parasol and UFO. For those of you who were not around in the 90s or early 2000s, I need to ask you a serious question. Are yo-yos still relevant? No, seriously, do any of you younger fans know what they are? If not, let me give you a brief explanation. It's an axle connected by 2 discs and a string looped across the axle. I know it sounds dull, but you can do cool tricks with it. And so can Kirby. This simple machine and toy has quite the lengthy string, and this is perfectly shown by the uber long reach. For its basic construction, Kirby will swing the yo-yo depending which direction input the player pressed. It covers a lot of range, literally leaving no space for an enemy to strike up close. But even with that, Kirby is not limited to simply attacking with the yo-yo. His dash attack is a break spin, where he attacks by breakdancing, and oddly enough is more powerful when done in mid-air. Oh, and those tricks I mentioned earlier? Yeah, here's one of them. So, what happened? Basically, Kirby uses the yo-yo as a balance board to make the break kicks a vertical and more powerful attack. His hammer drop, on the other hand, I don't see as very useful. Yes, it's very powerful, but personally, I rarely found myself using it. But overall, yo-yo is awesome. But seriously, nobody plays with yo-yos anymore? Just me? Man, I feel old. Look up in the stratosphere! It's Peter Pan! It's Goku! No! It's the man who killed Goku! No, you dumbasses! It's High Jump Kirby! I have one word to describe High Jump Kirby. Heroic. With the blend of Superman's cape and Hermes' wings, how could I not think such a thing? But unlike the Man of Steel, who possesses a plethora of options in his arsenal, High Jump has one. Springing high into the air. Sounds bare bones, right? But take note that a bare bone can be deadly. By just launching towards the air, Kirby would disintegrate foes with the multiplied strength of his speed and mass, or momentum for short. It bears a strong similarity to Jet, but only with more mobility and more focus on vertical attacks. But in 2011, the year the puffball returned to the platforming world, High Jump was giving several buffs. The first 2 are Rocket High Jump and Mega High Jump. They basically do the same thing, just at different strengths. Charge up the jump and Kirby will soar with even greater kinetic energy. Whoa, I guess this is what happens when Kirby eats a Taco Bell. And lastly, we come to the Rocket Dive. It's basically the same thing, only this time Kirby strikes downwards, because, you know, it's a dive. And it still has some of the leftover flatulence from those pseudo-meaty burritos. From the instant I first used this ability, my brain churned out a very critical question. Why isn't this Kirby's recovery move in Smash Bros? It just seems perfect for it. Sometimes copy abilities can be just as mysterious as their source of origin, especially in the case with Mirror Kirby. The concept of mirrors alone fascinates me, an object that is so pure and polished that it can reflect most of the light directly back, creating the illusion of a congruent dimension. Even the enemy who grants little pink fungus here with the ability is interesting, a fusion of the words similar and mirror, along with the fact that it sounds like symmetry, all related to objects and shapes looking identical. And this is transferred pretty good. Reflect Force and Reflect Guard both reflect projectiles, a property adjacent to mirrors. Hitting your reflection makes the illusion of hitting yourself. And Mirror Body splits Kirby in two, accurately implicating the way light rays are reflected and refracted to create two of the same image, while a distortion annihilates the unbalanced outside force. Huh, I wonder why enemies get killed at the sight of a mirror. Maybe they have never seen their own faces before, and seeing their hideous looks for the first time terrifies them to the point where their heart stops. Time to greet the heaviest of all copy abilities, Stone Kirby. Yes, it is the heaviest. That other one known as Metal doesn't exist. Stupid sorry excuse for a copy ability. So Stone. Many of you know what it is. It has become a staple in the Kirby franchise, and it is one of the trolliest moves in Smash Bros. History. His standard attack is the well-known Stone Smash, where Kirby will morph into a rock shaped like some object and heavily drop to the ground. Kirby will remain invincible as long as he stays in stone form. This attack comes in many different shapes, and since it appears in multiple games, the developers were dedicated enough to add one hell of a variety. But this is just for show. The damage itself is left unchanged. But what is not just for show is Heavy Smash, which is actually just the normal Stone Smash with a larger hitbox and power. All these attacks truly show that Stone is arguably the most defensive copy ability in the game. But then there is Stone Uppercut, a purely offensive attack. Kirby forms a stone fist and delivers a short-reaching, albeit powerful, rock-hard attack. Man, talk about stoning others to death. Why hello, Beam! My, are you amazing! But first, how about some trivia? Beam is the first ability that Kirby can use in Kirby's Adventure, making it the first ability available in the entire franchise. And it's also Sakurai's favorite ability. Just, you know, in case you're curious, whatever. When it is first accessible, it appears as a very good power-up, but as the game progresses, it starts to feel like a poor ability. But Kirby Superstar made it into a monster. Psycho Beam, a dash attack with long horizontal reach that will zap all who approach it. Wave Beam, by holding down the attack button, Kirby will power up a massive aura, and when ready, he releases it for a massive, deadly blast. What's more gnarly is that larger bosses like Fatty Whale will be hit by it twice. That's like if a gunshot would pierce your flesh twice. But bar none, my favorite attack from the Beam arsenal is the Beam Blast. My god! So many energy spheres to rain upon those who oppose the balance of Dreamland. With the solid range and pretty high damage per ball, there is no saving grace for its victims. And oddly enough, Beam was given a super ability. And it's unique. Kirby creates a massive orb and manually maneuvers it to function it. The only problem is that it controls like shit. Even with that, Beam is awesome. Don't be deceived by its design, because if it kills you, the only one who is going to feel like a fool is yourself. Needles, Needles, Needles. Everybody loves them. Well, not really, but they should. Their beautiful multi-stack sharp edges grant not one, but multiple piercers to invade the Nemesis' internal organs. For the most part, Needle is mostly used for defensive situations. Patience is key. Hold your position and simply wait for them to fall into it. Just watch out for long distance attacks, or else kiss your ass goodbye. That is, if you forget about the needle burst. If you don't, then you're safe. Why? Because Kirby will dispatch the 6 spikes out of the helmet, 1 for each direction. Don't worry, this also applies in mid-air, where he fires 10 of them. If you want a faster paced playthrough, Rolling Needle will do the job. Here, Kirby will become a ball of spikes and roll temporarily, running over and impaling the basic life of Anti-Dreamland. Think of it like a fusion between sword and wheel. Golden opportunity lost. His final needle in the haystack is none other than the Mega Needle, sacrificing the wide range for a single long thrust upwards. This is mainly used to clear the way in vertical platforming areas. But regardless of how you like using Needle, the enemy will always experience a nightmare. Now this makes me wonder, if the minions are this vulnerable to spiky thorns, I wonder how they would feel about a Doctor's Needle. I can imagine some of you shuddering at the image. Why did I do that? Oh yeah, it was to introduce the greatest copy ability to debut in Triple Deluxe. This. Oh man, this. From the moment I first laid eyes on it, I knew it was gonna be epic. To hell with Archer. Beetle is the only way to go. That horn does not fuck around. It originally belonged to these deadly insects. Since it was inspired by the world's strongest animal, calling it powerful is a criminal understatement. It has the power to thrust, lift, and drop enemies 8 days a week. It's just simply magnificent how the Beetle can catch a nefarious creature and proceed to move on while carrying it. Similar to Villager's Pocket, where instead of throwing it back at that moment, he can just keep a hold of it until the right time, and bam, mayhem on the go. Hardhead Slam is pretty cool too. Sure, this type of attack is seen with multiple abilities, but just something about an insect horn thrusting makes it, you know, mesmerizing. Upward thrust attacks are also very common, but holy shit, Beetle's looks amazing. It starts with a spin, killing nearby foes, and continues the momentum as he launches them upwards Little Mac rising uppercut style. His hovering is much more reliable than one might perceive. It is faster and much easier to maneuver than normal Kirby. In the end, any baddie who confronts this Beetle will long for yesterday in his final seconds of life. Pyrokinesis is one of the most common forms of superpowers in fictional media. And of course, Kirby possesses his own form of it. Being one of the most well-known copy abilities in the franchise, you'd expect the developers to make it one glorious and deadly powerhouse. And boy did they accomplish. It has some simple attacks for beginners to easily pick up and play, and experts can take advantage of its technicality for some insane and creative kills. Fire Breath is what it says. Kirby breathes fire from his lungs. It's pretty basic, but it can be maneuvered. It can be tilted upwards, downwards, or just extended forward. However, there is no back extension. Instead, there is Fireball Inferno. Don't worry, it doesn't cause self-harm, but for the long startup time it has, the damage delivered well makes up for it. Spinning Fire Breath is the fire in mid-air. Kirby automatically spins around, incinerating filth on both sides. Now for the fusion with Burning. The dash attack makes Kirby into a fireball and dashes forward with so much force that it can break metal blocks. Look at its massive power! Which brings up the question, why does it suck so bad in Melee? Seriously? Is that all? The fireball spin is one hectic move. It seems like a standard defensive attack at first, but when it touches solid surface, get ready for one fiery ride. Of course, we come to his super ability.
Monster Flame.
It's a giant dragon that punishes those who dare oppose and intervene with Kirby's ambitions.
Burn, motherfucker, burn! Let your flesh melt in the lake of fire! This is punishment for not worshipping God, Kirby!
I previously mentioned that HAL Laboratory took way too long to make a leaf ability. Well, that also goes for water. Believe it or not, the great debut for Water Kirby had been delayed for years. It was first shown in a teaser trailer for a new Kirby game on the GameCube. Unfortunately, the game was never made, thus killing off the ability for good, until Return to Dreamland was released in 2011, completely resurrecting the Hydro ability. In the case with Leaf, it was worth the wait, but with Water it was not. There should have never been a wait. It's fantastic! It's both a very effective ability and pays hells the amount of respect to its core element. Of course, we start out with his basic attack, Wave Attack. It's just a standard watery ground projectile. Geyser is anything but standard. Geyser is a long-reaching, powerful vertical attack. The sheer upward pressure is bound to go through biological negativity like bread. Surfing is awesome. In Return to Dreamland it's awesome. In real life it sucks. Other forms of Puffball Rosa here are damaged by touching an enemy while running. Water crashes into them, only damaging them. For fuck's sake! He can surf on magma and suffer no casualties. But oh no, that was not enough. By pressing the attack button again, the surf will morph into a wave, completely decimating all in path. And it comes with super armor, making it effective against giant bosses. Rainbow Rain is similar to Ninja's Blossom Storm. Charge it up and release a circular attack. But bar none, my favorite attack from Water is Fountain Hover, where Kirby literally spits with so much pressure that he hovers in mid-air. Basically, it's Kirby having an internal natural hydro jet. All caught in the concentrated water are butchered. With this power and overall joy to use, Water can easily receive a 10 out of 10 in copy ability ratings. Make it a 7.8. All you whiny sword fanboys better keep your mouth shut, or else I will have to remove your vocal cords so I won't hear any
Why is Sword not number 1?
shit. Even if it's not sitting at the throne, Sword Kirby is still a legend among those who survived the Pink Puffball Massacre. This ability pays a fuck ton of homage to the multiple generations of heroes. From his full health sword beam to his spin slash, and even Triple Deluxe's new inclusion of the Sky Energy sword, which is obviously taken from Link's new feature in Skyward Sword. Our elf boy is truly revered, but it doesn't end there. His references to Link extend well beyond the attacks. The hat he wears is a blatantly obvious allusion to the hero of Hyrule, but he is much more than just a reference to Link. Sword Kirby truly brings his own tricks to the table. For starters, his sword spin receives an enhancement in Triple Deluxe. It now rises in mid-air. His multi-sword attack is a barrage of slashes. Very straightforward, but man, what a bloody hell. Upward slash and sword dive make for one hell of a combo. All these are awesome, but man, Squeak Squad went all out with creativity. What am I talking about? Well, something called ability mixing. Mixing sword with spark, ice or fire grants Kirby with the elemental swords. I love slashing enemies to death with a sword, but these three made it much more fun. It's so fun that I can't decide which one to use. All I want to do is grant a Waddle Dee a slow, agonizing, gory death for me to laugh at. Oh, I know! Ultra Sword. A giant massive sword designed only for killing. So deadly that it became Kirby's new final smash. Now I would truly enjoy killing that shithead Sonic with it. I love to slash living creatures to death, but you know what I love more? Bludgeoning them. And that's where Hammer Kirby comes into play. Another old veteran in the franchise, Hammer is best at what you expect it to do: crush and dissolve all obstacles. While its range is significantly shorter than other melee weapons, Hammer more than makes up for it with raw killing power. Its basic hammer swing is capable of killing almost any standard enemy with one blow, and it can break metal blocks. The twirl might look too weak and useless, but it holds one hell of a trump card: super armor, making it an excellent choice for those almost in skin contact. Attacking while dashing will give Kirby the hammer swing, attacking both the face and the rear. If done in mid-air, its range vastly increases. Hammer flip is power to the core. Kirby swings upwards, creating an uber powerful fiery swing. This powerhouse truly leaves scars on bosses. Ouch. By charging his standard attack, Kirby does one of two things. Depending which game you're playing, the attack animation differs. In some, it's one big swing, and in others, Kirby does 3 strong swings. Either way, the result is the same. Kirby! Smash! Want something truly stylish? Say sayonara to just disposing the ability. Hammer likes to go with one final blow. Grand Hammer is simply a huge hammer with pounds so powerful that it causes shockwaves to cause further carnage. With this hammer in hand, Kirby will now enforce his power of authority over Dreamland. Anyone who opposes him will truly feel its might. Fighter. Arguably the most diverse and technical ability Kirby has ever wielded. He blends the skills of both martial arts and kickboxing along with some pretty deadly ki moves. The versatility within Fighter is tremendous. It holds a massive coverage both on ground and on air, alongside very fast-paced attacks to grant killing bliss. Vulcan Jab and Smash Punch are the standards. Decent range, good power, and massive combo potential. Both Spin Kick and Leg Sweep are great dash attacks, one for very up-close ground opponents and the other for aerial ones. The kicking doesn't stop there. Down kick, dive kick, and double kick are great mid-air attacks for dealing with short and mid-range opponents. And if one is literally next to Kirby, Moon Somersault Kick will do the job. It reminds me of all the times I received one from Guile. Such painful memories. Now for the epic one. Fighter's Soul Projectile, the Force Blast. It's a Hadouken. No, I'm not exaggerating. It's a small energy ball made out of aura. And to make a more obvious reference to it, by pressing down, forward, and attack, it will be released with no need for charging up. What's a fighter without grapple attacks? Someone who isn't Fighter Kirby. Regardless of it being Smash Bros. Kirby in Squeak Squad or Black Belt Kirby in Return to Dreamland, it's just so entertaining to pummel and collide enemies to their death. That's the beauty of it. It's not just a force to be reckoned with, it's fun. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. I'm sorry, but if anyone here doesn't know the effects of Bomb, you're a fucking idiot. It explodes. Kaboom! Fuse runs out, and the flame mixes with the gunpowder, and the detonation eradicates the surrounding area. One bomb doesn't cover much area, but holy shit are they spammable. Kirby can throw multiple of them at a time, becoming responsible for the massive gore splatter in the range of a 90-degree angle. Just make sure you throw it, or else you too will become a casualty. At first sight, the bomb appears to have a major flaw, the arc throw. But this is easily redeemed by the two wonders of Popstar known as Bomb Set and Bomb Drop. One is designed to break obstacles and await enemies with a nice little treat. And the other, well, And you thought Kirby couldn't be more evil? Look at the victim panicking, knowing that this bomb will be the last thing they see before the light. However, that is not all. Here in my pockets, I saved my favorite move from Bomb Kirby, Bomb Bowl. As the name suggests, Kirby plays some explosive bowling, with the Dreamland Undesirables being the replacement for pins. Squeak Squad has Ice and Thunder Bomb, so basically it's bomb equipped with liquid nitrogen and opposite charge atoms. Dreamland truly is home to some good quality advanced technology.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Tornado Kirby. At long last, the greatest Kirby copy ability is revealed. Tornado is, was, and forever will be the magnum opus of the ability universe. It is literally the definition of destruction. This is initially derived from its basic building block, the tornado attack. It's very simple. Kirby turns into a full-fledged mini tornado and wipes out all the enemies flat off the screen. If you want to enhance it, Return to Dreamland is a Zeus Send. Mash the D-pad and once the attack ends, voila, the Hyper Tornado. Not just is it larger, but also more powerful. And both come equipped with Super Shield. But damn, seriously, if Tornado can cause this much damage with only a few inches in height, just imagine the cataclysmic chaos it would cause if it was to scale with a real tornado. There would no longer be a Dreamland. All of DDD's minions would be turned to microscopic fertilizer. But that is only the basic attacks. Again, Return to Dreamland expanded its arsenal. Both Rising Gust and Falling Gust release the twister off Kirby's body and either launch it or drop it, making them powerful vertical projectiles. Tornado Dash is a cool dash attack, but nowhere near as effective as the standard Tornado. Squeak Squad also granted Tornado with the elemental upgrade, but it didn't really need it. It's like giving an already lethal weapon more power. Some may complain that it controls poorly, but since it's immune to basically anything that isn't Pits or Crush, it's not really a problem. Now, the area where Tornado Kirby truly shines. The arena. No, seriously, whenever I have trouble defeating the arena, Tornado Kirby is always there to save the day. With super armor and wide range, every single boss literally becomes cakewalk with the power of the winds. IL Shadow now depart, but remember this, don't fuck with Tornado Kirby, or else be prepared for massive carnage.